The reviews for Avatar: The Way of Water are in. What did critics think of James Cameron's long-awaited sequel? Here is the honest truth. It's been over a decade since audiences first journeyed to Pandora. Now, after 13 years, James Cameron has brought us back to this world with Avatar: The Way of Water. But what do critics really think of this highly anticipated sequel? As usual, there's a wide range of opinions. Some critics say it's an epic adventure, while others call it unnecessarily long and a cash grab. So who's right? Well, that's what we're here to find out. To help you decide if you want to see Avatar: The Way of Water, we have compiled all the professional reviews into one place. First, let's look at the Rotten Tomatoes scores. The Tomatometer score is currently sitting at 79%, which is considered fresh. However, the audience score is much higher at 84%. This means that moviegoers are enjoying the film slightly more than critics. To better understand why critics gave Avatar: The Way of Water this score, let's take a look at some of the reviews. In a positive review from The Hollywood Reporter, the critic said, "From the first shot to its last, Avatar: The Way of Water is a sumptuous immersion into a vividly realized new corner of the same imaginatively crafted alien realm glimpsed in the 2009 original. Even the film's 2.5 hours running time seemed to pass in a flash." This is a glowing review and really highlights some of the best aspects of the film. Visually, this movie is stunning, and if you saw the first Avatar, then you know exactly what to expect. The CGI and visual effects are top-notch. Slash Film had a similar sentiment in their review, saying, "Avatar: The Way of Water is everything we hoped it would be. The best big screen experience of the year so far. It's gorgeous, exciting, funny, and moving." However, they also went on to mention some negatives, saying, "It's 3 hours long and feels like it. Not necessarily in a bad way, but by the time the end credits rolled, I could have used a good night's sleep." While this is a more balanced review, it still leans towards the positive side. Many critics agree that while the movie is long, it doesn't feel like it because it keeps you engaged throughout. And that's exactly what happened when I watched it. Yes, it's almost 3 hours long, but I didn't leave feeling like I wasted my time. But not all reviews were this positive. One critic from the Daily Telegraph said, "This is everything the first Avatar film was not. Visually arresting, orally enchanting, emotionally involving, intellectually stimulating, everything Avatar was not. It is above all a deeply felt fable about environmentalism and animal rights. We should have known. When James Cameron makes a movie, he does things differently." I actually have to agree with this sentiment, and I'll explain why later in the video. But overall, this is a very positive review and highlights one of the main themes of the film. Another critic from Empire wrote, "With dazzling set pieces and nail-biting action, Avatar: The Way of Water looks set to make 3D and high frame rate CGI tech fashionable again. Just don't expect too much from the story." This is an interesting take because many critics seem to be focusing heavily on the visuals. While some people go into an Avatar movie expecting a strong storyline, most go in knowing that it's all about the CGI. One reviewer who expected more from the plot was from Total Film, who said, "If only the script matched the spectacular visuals." Despite fine performances from the likes of Zoe Saldana, Stephen Lang, and Sigourney Weaver, the characters remain thinly written, amounting to little more than mouthpieces for the film's environmental message. However, I'd like to add here that the first Avatar movie also received criticism for its weak script. So it seems that the problem here is not with this sequel specifically, but rather the writing style of these types of movies in general. Collider also had a similar opinion, writing, "The script is pretty horrendous. If you're going to spend over a decade working on a sequel, maybe invest a bit more time in the story elements, but the visuals are so breathtakingly beautiful that it's hard to stay mad at the movie for long." Again, this isn't a completely negative review, but it shows that the weakest point of the film is definitely the script. And now for my own thoughts, I agree with the critics that Avatar: The Way of Water is a visual masterpiece. The colors, CGI, and cinematography are outstanding. However, I have to disagree with those who thought that the script was weak. For me, the story was actually the strongest part of the movie. If you pay attention to the details, you will notice that the movie has a deeper meaning behind all the action. The whole movie is an allegory for the human colonization of the Americas. There's even a scene where the character explicitly says this. The reason why this metaphor worked for me is because I'm familiar with the history of the United States and Canada. We learned about this in school, so for me the environmental message wasn't preachy or anything like that. It was just a clever way of addressing a serious issue. If you're watching the movie without knowing the backstory of the land that the avatars inhabit, then yes, it might seem a little heavy-handed. However, I'd argue that this movie isn't made for you. James Cameron made a movie that speaks to him and millions of other people around the world. You have to remember that Avatar, The Way of Water, was made in 3D, and I'm happy to report that the 3D is really good. So I recommend seeing it in 3D. The 3D adds another layer of depth to the already visually stunning movie. Now for the biggest elephant in the room, is Avatar The Way of Water worth your money? I think this is a tricky question to answer because it depends on who you are. If you are someone who enjoyed the first Avatar movie, then chances are you will enjoy this one as well. However, if you didn't care for the first Avatar movie, then this one probably won't change your mind. There's no denying that Avatar, The Way of Water, is a visually stunning movie. From the moment the film begins to its epic conclusion, you are immersed in the world of Pandora. If you're someone who loves movies like Into the Spider-Verse or How to Train Your Dragon, then chances are you'll love Avatar, The Way of Water. However, if you're looking for a movie with a complex plot and realistic characters, then you might be disappointed. Overall, Avatar, The Way of Water is a fun movie that is worth watching once. I'm glad that I saw it in theaters because it is an immersive experience like no other. However, I wouldn't rush to see it. Wait until it comes to streaming. There's no need to pay full price for a ticket. So what do you think? Is Avatar, The Way of Water the movie of the year or a huge flop? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more content like this. Thank you for watching.